Up in the morning, out on the job. I hassled the things, then checked around outside. A black feather lay near our front door. Could be one of Nightwind's. Could be openers on a nasty spell. Could just be a stray feather. I carried it across the road to a field. Greymouth wasn't about, so I walked over to Larry's place. He let me in and told me everything that had happened. I informed him what I'd seen since I'd last seen him. We ought to check that hillside, he said. Could be that there'd been a chapel there in the old days. Yeah? You want to walk over now? Let's. I studied his plants while he went for a jacket. There were certainly some exotic ones. I hadn't told him yet about Linda, perhaps because he'd revealed in passing that all they'd spoken of was botany. I mean, maybe the great detective really was interested in plants. He returned with his jacket and we went out. It was a somewhat blustery day when we reached the open fields. At one point we came across a trail of huge, misshapen footprints leading off into the direction of the good doctor's farmhouse. I sniffed at them. Death. The big man's been out again, I remarked. I haven't been over that way to say hello, Larry said. Beginning to wonder now whether he isn't a rather famous man that I've already met seeking to further his work. He didn't elaborate, and as we came upon the crossbow bolt, we saw more stuck in the tree. What about Vicar Roberts? Ambitious man. I wouldn't be surprised if his aim is to be the only one left standing at the end. Sole beneficiary of the opening. What about Lynette? This doesn't require a human sacrifice, you know. It just sort of greases the wheels. I've been thinking about her, he said. Perhaps on the way back we could swing by the vicarage, and you could show me which room is hers. I don't know that myself, but I'll get Greymouth to show me. Then I'll show you. Do that. We walked on, coming to the last slopes of the small hill I had determined to be the center. So this is the place, he remarked. More or less, give or take. Either way, I don't usually work with maps the way most do. We wandered a bit then. Just your average hillside, he finally said. Nothing special about it unless those trees are the remains of a sacred grove. But they're saplings. They look like new growth to me. Yes, me too. I have a funny feeling you're still missing something in the equation. I'm in this version? Yes. We've discussed that before. If you take me out, where does it move it to? The other side of the hill. Further southeast, roughly the same distance as from your place to a point across the road from Owen's. Let's take a look. We climbed the hill and climbed back down onto the other side. Then we walked southward. Finally, we came to a marshy area where I halted. Over that way, I said. Maybe 50 or 60 paces. I haven't seen any point in messing around in it when we can see it from here. It all looks the same. Yes. Unpromising. Either way, then, you must still be leaving something out. A mystery player? Someone who's been laying low all this time? Seems as there must be. Has it happened before? I thought hard. It's been tried, but the others always found him. Why? Things like this. Pieces that don't fit any other way. Well, this is late in the game. It's never gone on this long. Everyone's always known everyone else at this time, with only about a week to go. In those situations where someone was hiding out, how did you usually discover him? We usually all know by the death of the moon. If something seems wrong afterwards, that can only be accounted for by the presence of another player. The power is then present to do a divinatory operation to determine that person's identity or location. Don't you think it might be worth giving it a try? Yes, you're right. You're right, of course. It's not really my specialty, though. Even though I know something about all the operations, I'm a watcher. I'm a calculator. I'll get someone else I know to give it a try, though. Who? I don't know yet. Let's find out who's good at it. Maybe suggest it formally so that I can get to share the results. I'll share them with you then. What if it's someone you can't stand? Doesn't matter. There are rules, even if you're trying to kill each other. If you don't follow them, you don't last long. I may have something that other person will want, like the ability to do an odd calculation, for something other than the center. Such as, I don't know, place where a body would be found. The place where a certain herb can be located. The store that carries a certain ingredient. Really, I never knew about those secondary calculations. How hard are they to perform? Some are very hard. Some are easy. We turned and began walking back. How hard's the body finding one? He asked. That's fairly easy, actually. What if you tried it for the police officer we put in the river? Now, that could be tricky since there's a lot of extra variables involved. If you just misplaced a body, though, or knew that somebody had died but didn't know where, that wouldn't be too hard. That does talk like a certain sort of divination. Well, when you speak of being an anticipator, of having a pretty good idea of when something's going to happen, isn't that a kind of divination? No, I think it's more of a subconscious knack for dealing with statistics against a fairly known field of actions. Well, some of my calculations would probably be a lot closer to doing overtly what you seem to be doing subconsciously. You may well be an intuitive calculator. That business about finding the body, though, that smacks of divination. It only seems that way to an outsider. Besides, you've just seen what can happen when my calculations miss some key factor. It's hardly divinatory. Suppose I told you I have a strong feeling all morning that one of the players had died. That's a little beyond me, I'm afraid. I'd need to know who it was and some of the circumstances. I really deal more with facts and probabilities and things like that. Are you serious about your feeling? Yes, it's a real anticipation. Did you feel it when the Count got staked? No, I didn't. But then I don't believe he'd technically have been considered living to begin with. Quibble, quibble, I said, and he caught the smile. And he smiled back. It takes one to know one, I guess. You want to show me Dog's Nest? You've gotten me curious. Come on, I said. We went and climbed up to it. At the top, we walked around a bit, and I showed him the stone which had sucked us through. Its inscription had become barely noticeable scratchings again. He couldn't make them out. Nice view from here. Oh, there's the mansion. I wonder what Miss Enderby's cuttings are taking. There was my opening. I could have seized it right then. I could have told him the whole story from Soho to here, but at least I realized then what was holding me back. He reminded me of someone I once knew. Rocco. Rocco was a big floppy-eared hound, always happy, bouncing around, slavering over life with such high spirits that some found it annoying, and he was very single-minded. I called him one day on the street, and he just dashed across, not even paying puppy attention to his surroundings. He got run over by a cart. I rushed to his side, and, man, wouldn't you know it, he was still happy to see me. If I'd kept my muzzle shut, he could have stayed happy a lot longer. Now, well, Larry wasn't stupid like Rocco, but he had a similar capacity for enthusiasm. One long frustrated by a big problem in his case, he seemed on the way to working out some means of dealing with it now, and the great detective in the guise he'd assume was actually cheering him up a great deal. Since I didn't really see him as giving much away, I thought of Rocco and said forget it. Later. We climbed down then and headed back, and I let him tell me about tropical plants and temperature plants and Arctic plants. When we neared Rastov's place, I saw first what seemed to be a piece of rope hanging from a tree. A moment later, I realized it to be quicklime, signaling for my attention. Snuff! I was looking for you. He's done it! He's done it! What? did himself in. I found him hanging when I returned from my foraging. I knew he was depressed. I told you. How long ago was this? About an hour ago. Then I went to look for you. When did you go out? Before dawn. He was all right then? Yes. He was sleeping. He'd been drinking last night. Are you sure he did it to himself? There was a bottle on the table nearby. That doesn't mean anything, the way he'd been drinking. Larry halted when he seen I was engaged in a conversation. I excused myself from Quicklime to bring him up to date. It sounds like your anticipation was right. I couldn't have calculated this one. The icon, I thought. Is it still there? It wasn't anywhere in sight, Quicklime replied. But it usually isn't. Not unless he takes it out for some reason. Did you check where he normally keeps it? I can't. That would take hands. There's a loose board under his bed. It lies flush and looks normal, but comes up easily for someone with fingers. There's a hollow space beneath it. He keeps it there, wrapped in a red silk bandana. I'll get Larry to lift the board. Is there an unlocked door? I don't know. You'll have to try them. Usually he keeps them locked. If they are, my window is open a crack. It's usual. You could raise it up and get in that way. We headed for the house. Quicklime slithered down and followed us. The front door was unlocked. We entered and waited until Quicklime was beside us. Which way? I asked. Straight ahead to the door, he said. We did that, entering a room I had viewed from the outside on an earlier inspection, and Rastov hung there. From a rope tied to a rafter, wild black hair and beard framing his pale face, dark eyes bugged, a trickle of blood having run from the left corner of his mouth into his beard, dried now into a dark, scar-like ridge. His face was purple and swollen. A light chair lay on its side nearby. We studied his remains, only for a moment, and I found myself recalling the old cat's remarks from yesterday. Was this the blood that he'd referred to? Where's the bedroom? I asked. Through the door and to the rear, Quicklime replied. Come on, Larry, I said. We need you to raise the board. The bedroom was a mess. Heaps of empty bottles all about, and the bed was disheveled, and its linen smelling of stale human sweat. There's a loose board under the bed, I said to Larry. To Quicklime, then. Which one is it? Quicklime slipped beneath and halted atop the third one in. This one, he said. The one Quicklime's showing us, I told Larry. Raise it, please. Larry knelt and reached, catching an edge with his fingernails. He found purchase almost immediately and drew it gently upward. Quicklime looked in. I looked in. Larry looked in. The red bandana was still there, but no 3x9 piece of wood with an eerie painting on it. Gone, Quicklime commented. It must be somewhere in the back of the room with him. We must have missed it. Larry replaced the board and returned to the room where Rastov hung. We searched thoroughly, but it did not seem to be present. I don't think he killed himself. No, I said. Somebody overpowered him while he was drunk or hung over, and then they did that to him. They wanted it to look as if he did do it himself. He was pretty strong, Quicklime responded. But if he started drinking again this morning, he might not have been able to defend himself well. And the place is so messy you can't really tell whether there was a struggle. For that matter, the killer could have straightened some furniture afterwards. I'll have to go to the constable, Larry said. I'll tell him I dropped by, found the door open, and walked in. At least I'd visited here before. It's not as if we'd never met. He won't know that we weren't well acquainted. I guess that's best, I told him. Returning my gaze to the corpse, I said, Can't tell from his clothes either. Looks as if he's slept in them more than once. We moved back to the front room. What are you going to do now, Quicklime? You want to move in with Jack and me? That might be simplest. Us clothes are sticking together. I think not, he hissed. I think I'm done with the game. He was a good man. He took good care of me. He cared about people. The whole world. What's that human notion? Compassion. He had a lot of that. It's one of the reasons he drank a lot, I think. He felt everyone's pain too much. No, I'm done with the game. I'll slip back into the woods now. I still know a few burrows, a few places where the mice make their runs. Leave me alone here for a while now. I'll see you around, Snuff. Whatever you think is best, Quicklime, I said. And if the winter gets too rough, you know where we live. I do. Goodbye. Good luck. Larry let me out, and we walked back to the road. I'll be going this way then, he said, turning right. And I'll be going this way. I turned left. See you soon for a follow-up on this, he said. Yes. I headed home. And you will lose a friend, the old cat had said that too. It had slipped my mind until just now.